What up, guys, and welcome to the brand new Omega Male podcast. Now, we used to do the Kismet Academy podcast, but we've recently upgraded and now we're doing the Omega Male podcast. So it's basically going to be quite similar to what we were doing before, except now we're going to be more focusing on how to become an Omega Male and how to build a well-rounded life rather than just online dating advice, okay? So this is for any man who wants to improve himself and who wants to be a better man in order to become more attractive to women, in order to become more healthy in his life, his relationships, and his finances, okay? So we're basically gonna cover everything about what it means to be a man in the 21st century. And I had a question the other day. The only reason we're doing this is because I got a question the other day from one of my students, and he says, by the way, big need for adapting to COVID dating in our times. Have you considered getting your YouTube channel more ramped up or renewing the podcast? And I thought, that's an excellent idea. We definitely should start doing some more stuff with YouTube. So we're gonna start committing to making at least a couple YouTube videos every single week. That's gonna be telling you a lot of stuff about texting, online dating, relationships, dating in person, and later on in the podcast, we are gonna be answering his question about what it means to be dating in the new normal, I guess is what they call it, where we're actually dating during coronavirus and people are scared to leave their houses. And so how do you deal with that when it comes to dating? So we're going to answer that question for you here in just a little bit. But first, I'm going to answer the question that is probably on most people's minds right now. They're saying, okay, this is called the Omega Male podcast. What is an Omega Male in the first place? Well, I'm glad you asked. The Omega Male is what I use to describe someone who is more at the pinnacle of masculine evolution, okay? So in traditional dating terms, people like to lump you into either the beta male category or the alpha male category. But I was never quite satisfied with the definition of beta male. I was never quite satisfied with the definition of alpha male because we use alpha male to describe everything today. It is so overused that it almost has no meaning, okay? So you can have somebody who is the alpha male of the group, okay, the AMOG, in one scenario, but then you put him in another scenario and he can now be the beta male, which doesn't make any sense because if he's an alpha male, he should be an alpha male in every scenario. But it's more like a ranking system, like who's more alpha than you, okay? That's not what we're gonna be talking about. And so omegas are different in the sense that this is not something that I could say like I'm more omega than someone else. Like Bill over here is not more omega than me and I'm not more omega than him. It's rather a status. It is like a title of somebody who is pursuing, you don't even have to be there yet, but you just need to be pursuing the achieving of what it means to be an Omega Male, which is the pinnacle of masculine evolution in the 21st century, okay? And so an Omega Male is different from an Alpha Male because an Omega Male has dealt with the problems that an alpha male faces, okay? So let's break down the alpha, beta, and omega definitions for you so you can get a little bit more of a clear understanding. So a beta male traditionally, obviously, is somebody who what? Who does not do well in life. He's weak, okay? He's inferior. He's more feminine. He probably drinks soy milk. He is just, you know, he's not the guy that you want to be, okay? And it's pretty much how everybody starts off in life. I feel like everybody is the beta male at some point in life, and you can go into certain situations and become the beta male just if you're insecure or you're shy or you lack confidence or you're not very good with women. Like even women could, you know, dominate you. Like that's just basically what a weak man is, someone who can be dominated by someone else. The term alpha and omega, or the term, alpha and beta actually comes from this ancient tribal situation where the people would, like, there would be all these beta males in a tribe that would be led by the alpha. And the alpha is like the strongest of the pack, okay? He's the one who is in charge. He makes the decisions, and everybody follows him. It's kind of like in a wolf tribe. You know, you've got the wolves, and then you've got the alpha wolf. Well, that's basically where that definition came from. So back in the day, it's like you're either alpha or you're beta. And so the ones who are alpha obviously are going to submit to whatever the the ones who are beta are obviously going to submit. Got coronavirus, sorry. The ones that are beta are obviously going to submit to the ones who are more alpha. And so that was fine and good for a long time. However, it has gotten so diluted, this whole concept of alpha male. Everybody wants to be an alpha. Everybody wants to be the AMOG at all times. Well, the problem is that I could be an AMOG, I could be the alpha, and then if I hang out with another alpha, then we're basically like on this level, we're trying to compete and see who can be more alpha. And I don't think that's even remotely productive. It's in fact counterproductive, because omegas work together. Omegas don't have to worry about that. I can be an omega male and I can be talking with another omega male, and we're not going to try to challenge each other and try to be the most omega of the omega males, okay? So we're basically redefining what it means to be a strong male in the 21st century, because you know the betas have problems. Obviously, the betas are just weak in general. The alphas, which is what everyone currently aspires to be, has their own share of problems, because the alphas are traditionally more, of course, they're more masculine, they make more decisions, they're more strong and assertive and aggressive, but they also come with a tremendous slew of downsides that keep them from being protected, or not protected, but it keeps them from advancing in the social hierarchy. So there is a limit for what an alpha can do, because they come with their own set of personality defects. And those defects are usually being very selfish, being very self-centered. They think that they're too good to work on themselves any further. They think that they have to basically dominate every conversation. They're the loud, braggadocious dudes that you see at your local bar. They can be quite abusive when they get into relationships, because they think in their minds that they're perfect and they can literally do no wrong. And this very toxic attitude towards self-development that these guys have, and it keeps them from being able to really advance further in life, because their relationships probably fail. Like, they have no problem attracting and getting women and sleeping with women, but when it comes to relationships, that's where they really struggle. And so they may have a lot of really surface level relationships with a lot of people, but nobody really wants to be friends with this guy. Or if they do, then he basically just pushes them away, because deep inside he's a broken individual. Okay, so that's basically what we're trying to do here. We're trying to take all the good aspects of the beta male, combine those with the good aspects of the alpha male, and that's how we arrive at the omega male, okay? And believe it or not, beta males actually do have some good aspects. And so what are they? The beta male, sorry about my chair, that doesn't sound very good at all. The beta male is what? He's empathetic, he's compassionate, he listens, okay? He doesn't brag about himself, he doesn't talk, because he doesn't have a lot of self-confidence, so he's not gonna be the one going around like, trying to prove how cool he is all the time. He just kind of accepts his place in the world as an inferior species. And that, in and of itself, is not entirely bad, surprisingly. Being comfortable in yourself and saying, look, I'm not the most physically capable person in the world. I'm not the smartest person in the world. I need to find an alpha male or an omega male to latch onto in order to, see if I can support him and he can provide that type of lifestyle for me, and that's what happens with a lot of people. The weak often attach themselves to the strong, and they both, win in the situation. But in terms of the omega or the alpha male, he lacks these very important qualities that the beta male has. He's not at all empathetic. He's not at all compassionate. He is 100% out for himself. And so that's where we arrive at this idea that masculinity has become toxic, because these guys, believe it or not, are relics. They are outdated, okay? The alpha males are from the 20th century and before. Okay, they don't have a purpose in the 21st century, and I think that's why a lot of men are very, very upset in today's day and age, is because they don't really feel like they fit in, because they refuse to adapt. They say, if I take care of how I look, if I care about how my hair looks, if I'm empathetic to people, if I'm willing to work on myself and accept the fact that maybe I'm not as perfect as I originally led myself to believe, then they're gonna proceed through life with the same attitude, even though it doesn't work for them, even though it no longer serves them to be the strongest man in the group and, be the one who's protecting from barbarians. We don't have barbarians anymore. We rarely have wars anymore, okay? So this relic, this antiquated ideal of being the super strong man who's just completely out for himself is not what people are looking for in the 21st century, and that's why these guys are struggling to have actual relationships. So if all you want to do is just sleep with hundreds of women, be an alpha male, whatever, do whatever you want, it'll probably work for you. But if you want to have a well-rounded life, if you want to have a real relationship, if you want to have a family, if you want to have a group of friends that actually care about you and who you actually care about, and build this cool network and build this really awesome, vibrant social life and improve your finances and improve your health and work on all these things, that you are going to need to upgrade from the beta male or the alpha male and learn to become an omega male. Because an omega male takes all the positive traits of the alpha. He's strong, he's confident, he is able to protect and defend just like the alpha. He is sociable and vibrant just like the alpha, but he doesn't have the toxic traits of the alpha, because he admits to himself that he is not perfect and he wants to improve himself, and he's going to work and do whatever it takes to fix these gaping holes in his personality and in his life. And if there's something out of balance in his life, whether it be his love life, whether it be his finances, whether it be his, his health, the way he looks, the way he presents himself to the world, he is self-aware enough, and his ego is in check enough where he can actually identify that problem and say, I don't think that I'm really resonating with people anymore. I'm going to figure out why. And then he might go out and do experiments, social experiments. He might hire help. He might hire a dating coach. He might hire a life coach. And he's going to learn all these things. And because he's willing to question himself, he's going to become way, way, way more advanced than an alpha male ever could. Because his ego is not too big where he wants to think that he's perfect all the time. Because guess what? Reality check, nobody's perfect, okay? Nobody is perfect. I don't care. Not even Donald Trump is perfect, okay? Or if you're on the other side, not even Joe Biden is perfect. There is no perfect person. If you're looking to be a perfect person, then you're going to be working for a very, very, very long time. And then at the end of your life, when you're 150, you're going to realize that it's impossible, okay? And so you need to go ahead and accept that you are not perfect. And in fact, if you're a beta male, it is actually much easier for you to become an omega than it is for an alpha to become an omega, because the beta males already accept the fact that they suck. Okay? So in order for you to become an omega male, you first have to accept the fact that you are a flawed individual. Of course, I'm not a flawed individual, but most people are. Okay? I'm talking to, the 99% out there. Everyone besides me is a flawed individual. And so we need to take a look at ourselves and figure out how can I improve. And so that's the first step. If you want to be an omega male, you need to identify what it is that is holding you back. Because you as an individual, you've got a long list of positive things about you, especially if you're a beta male. You're probably a good listener. You're probably introverted. You like to observe people, so you understand them in a way that most people don't. You can see things that a lot of people don't who are like extroverts or alpha males, because these guys don't really pay attention. They're so self-absorbed and self-consumed that they don't really have an idea of what's going on with the people around them. All they're out is just, how do I get my next hit of ego, okay? And so the people who are beta males are gonna have a much better time, or much easier time rather, becoming an omega male, because they don't have that ego that's gonna keep them in the way. So if you guys are watching this podcast, then you probably already are at the point where you admit that there is something in your life that you don't have. Whether that's a relationship, whether it's your health, whether it's your looks, you recognize the fact that you have a problem, okay? Just like with Alcoholics Anonymous. The first step is to recognize that you have a problem. And if you don't recognize that you have a problem, then, I mean, you're already perfect, so you can go ahead and exit out of this. So if you recognize that you have a problem, then you can move forward. And that's what we're going to help you to do here, okay? That's what the Omega Male Podcast is for. We're going to be presenting you with new ways for you to challenge yourself, for you to increase your skill sets in a myriad of ways, and make you a more healthy, well-rounded person, okay? And so by the time that you have completed your transformation from an omega, or from a beta to an alpha, or from an alpha to an omega, you are going to have completely revamped your entire life. We're going to shift the way that you look at yourself. We're going to shift the way that you look at the world. And we're going to shift how you approach life in general, and the basic battle plan that you bring with you everywhere that you go. And you're going to be so much more confident. You're going to be so much more attractive. You're going to be effortlessly attractive to women. We're going to help you to build systems that are going to send you countless women, okay? I am a dating coach. Like I said, I'm an online dating expert, and I've got my profile set up properly, so I never really have to go out and approach girls anymore. Like, I'm getting so many matches on Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, you name it, that it's really more work than it's worth for me to actually spend the time going out and talking to girls in person. And I've got some stories I could tell you. Recently just went to Dallas, and me and my friend went, and he was determined that when we go, we have to go to a bar and pick up girls. But I'm trying to tell him the whole time, like, we don't have to do that. Like, we can literally just get them on Tinder and then take them out. And he had some problem with Tinder. He didn't think he needed it or whatever. So we go out to this bar. We stand in line for an hour and a half in the heat. Okay, it's Dallas in July. And we stand there and we get inside and realize that there's literally no hot girls here. Okay, so we waited an hour and a half in line in the heat before we even get in the door. And then we get in the door and there's no hot girls. It's literally like 90% dudes. And then we almost got in with the cartel, but that's a completely another story for another time. But then the next night, I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this my way. And so I pull out my phone and I grab 2 smoking hot girls off of Tinder. One was from Tinder, one was from Bumble. And then we went out and had a tremendous time. And so that's what I'm trying to tell you guys. If you guys are not online dating, you're living in the past. If you think that you're gonna just approach girls for the rest of your life and never have to get on a dating app, then you're just making it more hard on yourself than it really needs to be, okay? So that's another thing that we're gonna really be focusing on this podcast, and on my website and on my YouTube channel and everywhere that we're gonna be focusing on how to help you guys to build a consistent funnel that is going to send you a ridiculous amount of women, okay? And so that is the first dimension of becoming an omega male, is where am I going to get my women from, okay? Because that's something that every man needs. That's a part of a happy, well-rounded life. It's love, health, spirituality, and finances. Okay, that's the 4 keys to living an Omega life. And so that's what we're going to show you how to do. Okay, so the first few episodes, we're going to be talking about online dating. And later we're going to move more into those other type of subject matters, but we're going to cover what most people are probably here for, because I'm an online dating coach, obviously, is I'm going to be talking about online dating and how to start getting women, how to text women, how to set up amazing dates and guarantee that you get more dates. Okay, so if you guys haven't got my book yet, you need to get this, okay? The Omega Male. It's available on Amazon.com right now, and it's going to be in a bunch of bookstores near you very, very soon. But this is basically everything that you need to know if you want to transform your entire life, if you want to stop being the beta male who basically sucks at life, or if you want to stop being the alpha male who has a pretty decent life, but knows that deep down he has some flaws and he's willing to admit it and work on himself, this is the book for you, okay? So in this book, we teach you how to build an abundant life full of beautiful women, how to build self-confidence, how to become a man who is effortlessly attractive to women, how to get your finances in order, how to get your life in order, how to get your mindset right, and literally brainwash yourself into becoming a more attractive man. And that is basically the whole essence of how to become an Omega male. So if you guys do not have this book, go to Amazon right now. If you are watching this in, what is this month? September?
Yeah.
If you're watching this in September 2020, you can still grab a copy of my book on Kindle Unlimited on Amazon for free, and it will not be there forever. You can grab the paperback version for $18, $17, something like that, okay? So definitely go read this book, and this is going to help you. And so we're basically going to be following along with this book, and I'm going to be teaching you every week some in-depth lessons on how to maximize your success in your life as a man, and how to operate in the 21st century, and how to become a man who is effective in his life, okay? That's what we're going to be doing here. So next, we got one more thing to talk about, and then I'm going to let you go. So we're going to answer this guy's question. He wants to know about dating for COVID-19, okay? So if you guys haven't heard, there's this thing out called COVID-19. Some people think it's real. Some people think it's fake. Some people think it's the end of the world. Honestly, I think it poses an interesting problem, but it's nothing that can't be solved, okay? So I've been saying this for years. Online dating is the next big thing. And I didn't know how it was going to happen. I didn't know why it was going to happen. But that's why I even started teaching online dating in the first place. It's just because I recognize that this is where technology is moving in the future. And so we need to start working to prepare for it. Because the thing about online dating is, gentlemen, that most people are just like you. If you look at online dating and you think, ew, I don't need to be on there. And then you secretly go download Tinder and you don't tell any of your friends because you're embarrassed, and then you swipe 100 times and realize that you didn't get one single match, so you delete it real quick before anybody sees how embarrassing your profile is, then you're the one that we need to talk to, okay? Because that's exactly how I used to be. Back whenever Tinder came out, I thought, I'm pretty decent with like cold approach. I don't need to worry about this. But what I realized was that online dating is such a great opportunity for people to meet women, because you can literally sit there and be talking to like 20 different women at the same time. Like I can talk to 20 women in the morning before I have my first cup of coffee, and it would take an entire evening before where I'd have to get dressed up, I'd have to, hit the gym, look good, get in state, go out, oh, there's no girls here, we got to go somewhere else. Oh, there's no girls here. Oh, I got rejected and everyone saw, so now I can't stay here and I have to go somewhere else. And it would end up taking like 3, 4, 5 hours just to talk to 30 girls, okay? So I can do that within 5 minutes on my phone. And they're actually hot. That's another thing. Most guys think that girls with online dating are not hot, but I promise you, all those Instagram models that you drool over, they have Tinders, they have Bumbles, they might even have Hinges or OkCupids, because that's where technology is heading. So if you're not on the bandwagon yet, you are missing out. And a lot of people, when they first start, they realize that they're not getting any matches, and they wonder why that is. So let me go ahead and tell you. You're not getting matches online because your profile sucks. Your profile is not set up for success, because why should it be? I mean, you've never done online dating before. You don't know how to do it. Nobody has ever taught you how to use online dating. So, it's just totally natural that your first experience is going to suck. Only 1% of guys are actually getting matches on Tinder. 99% of guys have to swipe right over 101 times to get one single match. And the reason is just because nobody knows how to do it. It's such a new thing. Like, online dating has only been around for a few years, maybe a decade or two at the most. And just now is it becoming a more mainstream way for men and women to meet each other. So it's okay if your profile sucks right now. It's not your fault. But you are going to have to learn how to do it, okay? So even if you're obsessed with cold approach, you think cold approach is the Mother Teresa of dating, cool, fine, do that. But at the same time, start learning a little bit about online dating and start taking some interesting pictures. Start setting up your profile in an interesting and creative way that actually stands out from the 99% of other people. Because honestly, the bar with Tinder and stuff right now is set so incredibly low that if you just take a little bit of time and put a little bit of effort into your profile, then it's going to explode with matches, because the girls are going to look at you and see a guy who's actually gets it. And then they're going to be like, oh, wow, this is amazing. I've never seen a guy's profile that looks this good before. Boom. And then you get matches. Okay. So it's honestly the easiest way. Especially if you're a beta male, you're really not someone who goes out and socializes a lot. It's so much easier to set up a profile, to actually go out and take some good pictures, put a nice bio together, and let your Tinder and your Bumble do all the work for you than it is to go out and learn cold approach. Now, that being said, cold approach is still incredibly necessary, but only when it comes to dating, okay? So when you actually get the girls out on the date, you're gonna need some experience in order to turn that date into a relationship of some type. So I'm not saying don't do cold approach. I'm just saying if you are not doing online dating yet, then you're missing out, because I literally have over 1,000, probably 2,000 girls by now that are sitting in my dating profiles that I have yet to talk to, and I can literally message them whenever I want and set up a date. I can set up a date every night of the week for the next 3 months if I want. And it's literally so easy, okay? And so later on, I'm going to be sharing with you guys how to do that. So that's what I recommend for you during coronavirus time. During Corona time, it's time to get online, all right? Download your Tinders, download your Bumbles. Go make Tinder, Bumble, Hinge. If you don't have any dating apps, this is the 3 that I recommend. This is the trifecta, okay? Tinder, Bumble, and Hinge is where the majority of the girls online are, okay? Tinder is more for the college age girls, okay? You do find some more professional girls Instagram models and stuff on Tinder, because it's kind of the most popular dating app in America right now. So you do have the widest selection of girls on Tinder. However, I would go as far as to say that Bumble has the most attractive girls on it. And the reason is because really, really hot girls don't like getting blown up with messages that are stupid from guys they don't care about. So the beauty of Bumble is that women actually have to message the guy first. So if she's not into you, she doesn't have to message you, okay? And you cannot message her until she messages you first. So the hotter, smarter girls who are more professional are gonna be more likely to be on Bumble. And then Hinge is kind of a blend between the two, okay? So download Tinder, Bumble, Hinge. That is your homework for the week, gentlemen. And start talking to some girls online. Start setting up some dates. And start going on some FaceTime dates. Now, the FaceTime dating, this is where it really gets different. From the time the coronavirus started, from before coronavirus until now, okay? So some girls are going to be a little bit reluctant to meet up with somebody nowadays because they are scared that you're going to give them the coronavirus. Fair enough. So if you do find a girl who's a little bit hesitant to meet up with you because of coronavirus or, whatever reason she can possibly imagine, then you're going to have to do your first date, but you're going to have to do it through something like FaceTime, okay? So if you get a girl, so let's say that you follow my routine, and by the way, if you get my book, I teach you my actual routine that I use, and I send the exact same messages to girls literally every single time, and gets their phone number and gets them on the text messenger where literally all I have to do is set up the date, okay? So go check out the book where I teach you literally everything to say, how to have fun, witty conversations. You name it, it's in here, okay? Basically everything you need to know. That being said, you're gonna have girls that are gonna be hesitant to go out with you because they're afraid that you're gonna give them what equates to something that's not as bad as the flu. Okay, fine with me. So we're gonna set up a FaceTime date. And so one thing that a lot of guys really get wrong with this whole FaceTime thing is they sit there and they call a girl and they get super, super scared, okay? They get super, super nervous. It turns out awkward, it gets weird, and even the most experienced guys, in fact, me, when I first started doing like FaceTime dates, it was just so new. Like I didn't know what to do or say. But that's because I was treating it like a FaceTime call, okay? You have to quit treating it like a FaceTime call with your boss. This is not a FaceTime call. This is your first chance to actually meet this girl for the first time. That was redundant, but you get the point. That you are meeting this person for the first time, and you're gonna treat this just like an actual date. Right, Bill? Mm-hmm. You have to treat FaceTime like a real date. So use all the routines that I teach you and all the fun like escalation techniques that I use in my book Omega Male, or you can get it on kismetacademy.tv. All those things. Use those techniques and treat it the same as a date. I had a student who told me that he did a FaceTime date with a girl, and he actually went as far as cooking dinner with himself, and she cooked dinner at the same time at her place, and they acted like they were eating dinner together. Oh, I don't do stuff like that, okay? But it was very effective. She liked it, okay? There's another guy who played a girl a song on the guitar over FaceTime. So, you can be a little bit romantic. You can be a little bit corny with a lot of the girls, and they appreciate it because it's something that they've never experienced before, okay? So you've got a lot of leeway. Get creative with your FaceTime dates. Don't just be sitting on the toilet FaceTiming the girl. Do something, okay? Get in some good lighting. Make yourself look as attractive as humanly possible, and find some sort of an activity to do, and then follow the steps, the escalation steps that I teach you in the book. You can do everything except for the physical touch on a FaceTime date. And what this is gonna do is this is going to transition from her looking at you as some random dude that she just matched with online. He may or may not be a creep. I don't know. He may or may not be a serial killer. I don't know. He might cut my face off and safety pin it to a soccer ball. I don't know. That's what the girls are thinking whenever they match with you online. And so the quicker you can get her onto a FaceTime date, the quicker she can actually see, oh, this guy is how he presents himself. This guy is actually socially well-adjusted. He can carry on a conversation in person. He's not scared to talk to me on FaceTime. And he goes as far as to put a little bit more effort into making this FaceTime conversation more than just some boring chit-chat that he would have with his grandma, okay? So that's basically all you have to do. And the last thing that I will say about this is if you don't approach this as a regular date, then the FaceTime date can sometimes backfire. and you never compliment her, she never compliments you, you don't hold hands, you don't touch each other, you don't make any effort whatsoever to express the fact that you're still attracted to each other. Well, first of all, you're going to be sitting there thinking, man, this is feeling more like a friend date than anything else, because there's no sexual chemistry going on here. And she's going to be thinking, wow, maybe he's actually not into me because he's not making any effort whatsoever to advance this in a man to woman conversation way. So that's where you have to basically take the reins, okay? You got to be the man, and you got to compliment her in several different ways, okay? Use what I call creative compliments. I've got a list of creative compliments that I use online, through text, on the phone, FaceTime, everywhere. You use these creative compliments, you need to make a list of them. And perhaps in the next episode, I will give you one of my best creative compliments that you can start saying to girls that will actually make them think that you're really interesting and witty. Okay, it'll be our secret. So that's what you need to be using. Creative compliments. Make sure to maintain the fact that you are interested in her and she's still interested in you. And this is not going into the friend zone, okay? But this is going to keep this conversation flowing. It's going to keep it moving. And you guys are going to be able to get a little bit more comfortable with each other before you even meet up with each other in person, okay? So if you just text them and it ends up fizzling out, the reason is because you did not move that relationship forward in a positive direction. You didn't move it quickly enough. You just sat around and you became a texting buddy. Well, guess what? She's got 1,000 texting buddies and she doesn't need any more, okay? Then you're heading into friend zone territory. You're heading into a textationship territory, and she's got 1,000 and she doesn't need any more, okay? So that's why you have to get her into a FaceTime date as soon as possible. If you can't get her into a real date, obviously the real date's the number one priority, but then you have to get her into a FaceTime date or at least a phone call as soon as possible. Otherwise, this relationship is gonna fizzle out. You've got about a 5-day window from the time that you meet her online to the time you actually get her on a date. So that's a secret to dating in the COVID-19. Move the conversation forward, get her on FaceTime, and then once she feels comfortable with you, she will have no problem going on an actual physical date with you, okay? And then it won't even feel like the first date either, because you've already technically met virtually. So, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up here. Gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Go check out our podcast on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, right? Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and hopefully we're going to start doing some live streams soon, some actual live stream. This is a fake live stream, but we're going to be doing some real live stream. And while you're at it, go ahead and pick up a copy of The Omega Male on Amazon.com by Ryan Cruz. All right, so thank you, gentlemen, for watching. My name is Ryan Cruz. I can't wait to see you on the next episode of the Omega Male Podcast.